Today we're going to cover the last 3 weeks of my client Vivian's reverse diet series. Hey, this is Colin DeWay. If you want to master your metabolism, start now by subscribing today and click on that bell notification so you don't miss anything. Alright, it has been a few weeks and I want to actually start on the training side of things this week. I will keep it brief, but it is absolutely relevant towards a reverse diet, which I will explain in more detail in a minute. Right now, we are actually preparing Vivian for a mock meet that she will be doing, which is like a practice meet for powerlifters. So we'll probably test her maxes in the next about 6 to 8 weeks or so. And because of this, she's been going pretty heavy lately on the big 3 movements, the squat, bench, and deadlift. And since we are basically peaking for performance, I have upped the frequency on some of her lifts. For instance, on squats, we've gone from 1 time per week to 2 times per week. On bench press, we've gone from 2 times per week to 3 times per week. And on deadlift, we're actually sticking with 1 time per week. And this is actually a really good strategy for most powerlifters. You kind of get more specific as you get closer to when you're actually going to do a meet. And this way you can peak your performance at just the right time. It's not necessarily the best idea to do a higher frequency of all the movements all the time to help avoid overuse injuries. Plus, I think it's a good idea to add in other variations when you're in an actual building phase. So we up the frequency, we lower the reps, so we're doing nothing but 6s, 4s, and 2s, and then we'll peak with an intensity block next block. And after that, we'll then go back into higher volume and work more on building. But anyway, training is a very overlooked factor when it comes to reverse dieting. Not only does the extra calories help you perform better and give you more energy and help you recover better and really just help you feel better, but even some of that extra weight gain that so many people fear so much can have some real benefits to your training. Not only does having a little extra cushion help you avoid injury better, but it also improves your leverages and makes things like coming out of the hole in squats a lot easier. So training is something that I really encourage you to focus on during a reverse diet. Start focusing on more performance-based goals instead of always focusing on how you want to lose weight. So many people get so caught up always focusing all their attention on how they wish they could lose some weight right now, and that's not what the focus of your training is. So think about it. If you're always focusing on something that's not the focus of what you're trying to accomplish, it's going to put you in a really bad mental place. But it's also going to make it harder to stick to the plan, and it's actually going to make the process go that much worse and probably end up making you gain more weight than you wanted to begin with. There are so many benefits that come along with a reverse diet, so don't get caught up in the grass is always greener mentality that a lot of people fall into. If you're in a reverse diet, focus your attention on things like performance-based goals and other things like creating a better relationship with food and enjoying more food, having more energy. How about enjoying social situations that are much more difficult to do when you're in a dieting phase? In fact, this is one of the things that Vivian actually mentioned in one of her recent check-ins. She said that the extended family that she's staying with actually eats out a lot more, and since she just got there, they're treating her out a lot. So she was like, hey, I'm just grateful that my calories are nice and high and I have a wonderful relationship with food now so I can take advantage of these things. And isn't being happy and enjoying your life a lot more important than a few pounds on the scale? That doesn't mean there aren't times to absolutely buckle down and shift your focus on fat loss, but it's a slippery slope to only be focused on it. At the end of the day, everything that we do because we think it'll make us happy, right? And just the act of losing weight isn't enough to make someone happy. It needs to be a much deeper level than just physical appearance. Anyway, if you've been watching for a while now, you know that Vivian started out with the reverse, just working on trying to get into a better spot metabolically, and now that she's there, we have shifted focus into more of a muscle building phase. But despite that, even though we kept pushing calories up, her body just responded so well that it's been taking some time to actually get into a calorie surplus for her. But it looks like we might finally be there. Over the last 3 weeks, she has gained a total of 1.5 pounds and gaining a little bit each of those 3 weeks. This pace is maybe a little bit faster than we want, but she also mentioned that she had a lot of higher sodium meals towards the end of the week this week, so that could account for a bigger jump on the scale. Plus, we also have to factor in that she's at the end of a training block, so fatigue is high and there's probably extra inflammation. So for now, we're just gonna hold steady and see how things go. She will be traveling this week, so that could also mess with the scale a little bit, but we'll just play it by ear and see how things go. If she does continue to gain a little bit faster than we want, we'll just scale the macros a little bit, and this is something that we don't normally want to do, but there is a place for it sometimes. There does have to be a balance here, because if you are continually gaining more than you want to, then you might need to scale it back to get that process to slow down a little bit. But you also don't want to get caught up in always adjusting back down every single time you have any type of a gain, because then you're never going to get anywhere and you're doing yourself a disservice. So typically, taking away calories during a reverse is something that should be pretty dang rare, but there can be instances, especially once your calories are nice and high towards the end of a reverse. In fact, it can be a good idea to push the envelope a little bit just to see how many calories you can get, and then when things start to add up a little bit too much, then you just dial it back a little bit. By doing this, you can know that you've kind of hit your metabolic threshold, so to speak, and know that you're not leaving a bunch of calories on the table. Just don't panic and reduce your macros every time you see weight gain. That's not gonna work. So anyway, if I do have to dial her calories back a little bit, I'll probably do about maybe 50 to 100 calories, but I'm thinking we're probably gonna be good to just hold steady here. It also helps that I have pictures and measurements from her weekly so that I can see that for the most part, things are holding pretty steady. And in her instance, let's not forget too, even though there's been a little bit of a gain recently, she's still about the same as when she started 27 weeks ago, but she's eating over 800 calories more per day. Now do this, if you have a hard time dealing with changes on the scale, watch this video right now, and I should be able to help you get past that. If you have any questions about reverse dieting, let me know in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, and I'll see you over at the other video.